to see the production. I need to be able to see that things are consistent and yeah, and be okay with it. I can sleep at night knowing that I've checked everything. Women in a third world country raising kids, oh God, I just have so much respect for them, so much respect. Like, I feel like people blame themselves as well about what happened. You're a child, none of it is your fault. Even if you're not a child, if it's not consent, it's not your fault at all. What people don't understand is it takes a lot out of a person when you get sexually, molested as a child or raped. There's a piece of you that goes, and you're trying to get it back or live with it, but be happy. No, it was more so for Kiwis that never tried Ethiopian food. But I wanted to make it more, it was like westernized, you know what I mean? So it couldn't be spicy. The way we would have it quite very, it's quite spicy. So I felt like we did, westernize it a little bit. That's really, ignorant to say that of refugees. It's that, they just want to come here and stay on the benefit. And I think, no. Yeah. I've been on the benefit before and it doesn't pay. I had no plan. I was a personal trainer, a single mom with one child at the time. There was never planned for me. I never really had a plan. I think now it's different, but then I never really planned what I was going to do next. I was just doing things that I really enjoyed. I loved working out, so I thought, hey, let's be a personal trainer. It wasn't for me, but it was someone that was close to me that pushed me to try it because he thought it was a good idea. We used to drink on the weekends, so when we drink, I always used to make food, and so the conversation was around that. They were like, the sauce, because I made the same base and I cooked a vegan dish and a meat dish, and the person was like, why don't you make a sauce so that everyone could use it? The fact that it's gluten-free, it's got no sugar, for seafood and meat and relish. I was like, okay, but I think we had to start at the Fears Market in Thorndon, but I was pretty much taking it step by step. Basically, I went in there, I thought, hey, look, if I do really well, I'm just going to do this for at least a few months and then approach like the smaller supermarkets around me. But first day we were there, we sold out. And so that gave me the biggest rush ever. So I couldn't believe it. I nearly I had to pinch myself because I couldn't believe that people that never tried it actually liked it as much as I did. And so it went from there. And then I said to myself, okay, if Common Sense Organic say yes to me, to my product, then I'm going to give up personal training full-time and concentrate on this full-time. And they did, and it went from there. I feel like when I think of Mamia's, I think about the story of when the Chinese got to New Zealand, how their food wasn't, not a lot of people knew their food. I think most people didn't, and it wasn't considered nice. I mean, they're popular now, but they weren't back then when they first started. And so I feel like in Mamia's, it's like that. So no one knows about us, but I think over time, it will be a known product. So after I'm gone and my kids and then my grandkids, I feel like, they'll look back and say, grandma started this. And so that's what I would want it to happen. I want it to be a part of Kiwi culture in the next, 100 years. I think for me, it was, the trauma that happened when I was young, going through it and processing it, because I didn't go see a doctor, but I felt like I was quite down about, after having a child. And I think I put it down because my father died. But I think, I had to really look down and heal for myself, because when I was young, I got sexually assaulted, and then my mum died, and and then bring my dad here, him dying at 20 years old. I had my son, and then I had to bring my sister and my brother to look after them. So there was a lot of trauma that wasn't healed. That what I found was, after having a child, with the stress of the business and then the anxiety of just building, it was a lot. And so I had to stop my mirrors and focus on me, healing my journey, because it was tough. It was very tough. And so I feel like at the moment, because of what I faced, my mirrors, I feel like it is hard, but it's doable. I can do it. It's not as difficult as going through what I went through as a child. And, the hardest part is sleep. Now, my only problem is sleep. But I love going to the gym. So if I don't get training, I just get grumpy. Because I used to usually joke a lot, and so I used to mask it with comedy, and that was hard to say. I'm sad. I'm actually not happy. This has happened, and my dad was shocked when I told him. And I think when I told him was the day that I felt free. I was like, okay, it's not my fault. You know, there still need to be work done. But I think initially that was the break. You know, I felt really relieved. From my experience anyway, from going through what I went through, you doubt yourself. Even though you pick yourself up, you know, there's always that, you know, in the back of your head, the voice that, you know, ready to doubt yourself. So I think if I like to consider myself a fighter, because I like to get up even though it's happened. I like to recognize it's happened and talk about it and not be afraid to share my story with anyone, because it might help someone. And I think that holding it in is even the biggest struggle, is because you put so much pressure trying to hide it and it hurts you more anyway. But no, I doubt myself and on a weekly basis. But I always keep telling myself, we've done this number, we're doing really well, and I've got a really good supportive family. So I think that helps. We all know each other. I remember, for example, when my father died, they all got together and they gave me, I think, about $6,000 or $7,000 to cover with, you know, burial and things like that. And these are people that work as a taxi drivers. So when it comes to when you need them, they are there. It's not just always for fun, and that's something I really love about the Ethiopian community, is when someone's sick or someone's died, they will help you wherever they can. And I think that was beautiful to see that, you know. Oh yeah, so this guy from Mamia ordered 24. He ordered a box of 24 jars to be sent to him. I had to ask him. I was like, 24 jars? And he said yes. He's like, I love it. I tried it at a fair, and so he now orders a box. Once he's done with that one, he's also ordered another one. But I met this beautiful French family doing tasting recently at Mont Wilson, and so the boy, he was about 5 years old, and he was very talkative. And I said, would you like to try some of this? And he's like, yeah. I gave it to him, and he was like, oh, this is so delicious. This is so yummy. Mommy, you have to buy it. Please, this is so good. That made me so happy that a little kid is like, you know, raving about my food. And so, you know, kids tell the truth. I feel like my culture anyway, or even when we were in Sudan, it was men just came first. Even at a young age, boys were given so much freedom than girls. And so that's the bit that still hasn't changed. You know, there's so much more pressure on young girls to act a certain way or to behave a certain way because your future husband is watching or future family is watching, you know what I mean? And so I remember that being young, and I just didn't care. I was like a big tomboy. I was like, I don't care who wants to get married, you know? But I think there's just so much pressure on young girls, and it starts from a young age and it just goes. Oh God, I would love to. I mean, it all comes down to money, doesn't it? So I'm hoping if things go the way they go, I would love to be able to help, you know, young girls especially, or boys that went through what I went through back home, to be able to set up counseling and to educate people more about that. I would love to do that. Is this video going to be shown to public?
Yes.
Oh my God.